Second technique, advancing daggers. This is a very common attack. Strong person, angry person comes up and they try to grab your jacket, your shirt, your blouse. Gotcha. And God knows what they want to do to you. Maybe they want to pull you in and throw you down, pull you into a vehicle. We don't know. But they've grabbed you tightly and we need to get out of this fast. What we're going to do is put our fists together and form kind of like a wedge. Looks a little bit, look at my forearms, looks a little bit like a triangle. I'm going to drive this wedge toward the guy's face. And I'm going to come up in between his arms and try to come up with this wedge to break his hands apart. If I can get him even before he latches onto me, even before he curls his knuckles, that'd be great. If he's already got me, it'll work, but I have to use a lot more force. So if you've really got your wits about you, you're good at mental conditioning for combat, and you're using the color code, you see this stuff early, you'll be able to activate this sooner. So we're going to come up with the wedge, but also using our core and our leg muscles to get more power. We're going to step in with our left foot into a heel-toe position. We're going to come up with that wedge and then separate the arms. We're going to push the left hand out. We're going to turn the right hand and push it out. So we're coming up with the wedge, separating. By the time your foot lands, you want to feel tension in your arms, tension in your chest, tension in your core, tension in your legs, so everything's supported. You want to activate all that muscle because this guy most likely is a lot bigger than we are. We have to have a way to compensate. So we're going to be using some physics, we're going to be using our physiology to beat him. So when he comes in to grab, we're going to step in with that wedge. We're going to drive his arms apart. This is the upper hand idea. Your hands are now close to his head and neck. And his hands can't get your head and neck because your arms are in the way. It's pretty cool. So what you do next is you take your back hand, this is your right hand, and you're going to fire a chop coming in on a diagonal. You're going to hit into the jugular vein and carotid artery complex. And when you hit that, hit it pretty hard, but when you hit it at a diagonal like that, you cut off a lot of the plumbing to the brain, almost half the plumbing. And the brain needs so much oxygen to stay conscious that it won't kill him, but he's going to go unconscious pretty quick. It's a quick way to knock somebody out. If I grab somebody, wouldn't do this, but if I grab somebody by their jugular vein carotid artery complex and I squeeze, they're just going to pass out because I've cut off a lot of the oxygen supply to the brain. Happens pretty quick. So we'll step in, we'll drive the arms apart, we'll fire that right chop. As we do the right chop, the other hand is going to come back over by your shoulder. So it's kind of like a push-pull, right? One hand goes in with a push, the other one pulls back. That hand's getting ready to do another chop, but also this part is protecting your head from an attack in your throat. So it's one, and then we're going to fire with this hand a driving chop. This is coming directly in. We're going to hit the trachea right underneath the Adam's apple. We're going to knock that thing back. And if you took your fingers and you whack yourself in the trachea, you're like, man, it doesn't take much to really cause you to kind of have a gag reflex and have a hard time breathing. If you hit hard enough, you can crimp that cartilage kind of like a hard rubbery material, and then there's not much airflow. He'll start to choke. You certainly won't want to fight at that point. He's just going to be thinking about survival. He just wants to breathe again. So he will have forgotten about you. So you try to cut off the blood to the brain, which will stop him. If that hasn't worked, we go right into the windpipe. And then we have the 1, 2, then 3. We're going to drop this hand lower to act as a guard. And this hand, another kind of a dagger, another open hand dagger type thing, is a spear hand. It's going to hit into the solar plexus. So we call this technique advancing daggers. Think of these knives coming at the guy, right? So 1, 2, 3. A lot of practitioners can fire those shots and make contact, heavy contact, in well under a second. And he's been hit, and cutting off blood to the brain, no air to the body, and then the shot to the solar plexus will often cause someone to bend over, and the diaphragm muscle gets paralyzed. So it doesn't work for a little bit and they can't breathe, and you feel like you're gonna throw up. You feel pretty nauseous. It's getting the wind knocked out of you. So very effective to stop this fight, and then we're out of there, right? We're not gonna hang out. So he goes to grab you. Hopefully before he even puts his hands on you, you're gonna come in, drive his arms apart, fire the chop, then the second chop, and then the spear hand. Let's see if I can show you guys from the side. Step in with the left foot, break the arms apart, and then from here we'll fire chop 1, chop 2, spear hand. Next thing is to drive your back knee into the groin, just a low knee, just a quick sneaky knee, not very high, just to the groin. And as you do the shot to the groin, your right hand opens up into a web hand, using the web of your hand. That's so that when he bends in from the knee, this will naturally go up and catch his throat for control. It doesn't do damage really, but it does hurt, and it's used for controlling somebody. It's a web hand. U-hand's different. That's for damaging. This is for control. Web hand, web of your hand. So from the front, we go 1, 2, 3, then the spear hand 4, and then left hand goes Chinese guard, right opens up to a web hand, and then just a small knee, not very high, just a knee to the groin. Then your right foot's going to step forward, but it's kind of a weird step. We call it an instep step. I'm trying to move back so you guys can see it. So from the knee, your right foot sneaks around behind him. You're going to end up with your left shoulder forward, so your body's kind of rotating. So I did the spear hand from a horse, did the low knee to the groin, and I step in. As I step in, I'm going to get my leg, this part of my leg, my femur up against his hip, get him off balance, catch his throat. This other hand's going to hook over and use my thumb and my index finger to hook over. I got him by the windpipe. I also want to hook over, I want to catch him by the eyes. I got part of this on his eyes, part of this on his forehead. So I got a lot of control over his head. I'm going to push against these delicate things. I'm going to push against his eyes and against his throat. As I push, because it hurts a lot, he's going to go with me. It's going to be part of a throw. My intent to throw is not to embarrass him or to show I'm the better fighter. I don't care. My intent is to put him into the ground hard. I want to use the ground as a weapon. If he hasn't stopped yet, this is a bad hombre, he's a bad opponent. I need to throw him into the ground hard to cause damage to his head. I'm not trying to damage his butt, his spine, his shoulders. I don't care. I'm going to try and damage this. This is the threat. This is what's trying to kill you, his head. Drive his head into the ground, end it, and then run and get out of there. So I got him by the throat, got him by the eyes. I got my hip up against his hip with that instep step. And now I'm going to pull him in. I'm going to rotate around into a hard bow toward the corner, toward 45 degrees. I'm going to turn into that hard bow and lock my leg so it acts like a fulcrum to trip him. And I'm going to throw my hands down, projecting him as fast as I can, as hard as I can, as much muscle as I can, into that concrete, hard as I can. And that should do it. We're going to add with a few kicks at the end, just in case. Again, our system is so great with follow-up, but probably you don't need it. Let's do it again. This is advancing daggers. So step in, we go. Drive the arms apart. Chop. Chop to the windpipe. Spear hand. Here comes the web hand. Here comes that small knee to the groin, not very high. Then snake around, hook his eyes. Right as your foot lands, hook his eyes. Flex your knees so you're very low, you have good stability. And then you're going to push and turn your hip into a hard bow really fast. So you turn and then you lock in, hard bow. Lock that back leg. Then you're going to fire a low snap kick into the guy's rib cage. He's laying on the ground. You hit him back here in his rib. He's on his side looking up at you. You hit him in the rib like that. He may be on his back. That's possible, looking up at you. It's okay. Kick him in whatever rib is open to you. Snap kick in that rib hard. That'll make his head pop up. If I'm laying like this and you kick me in the rib, my head's going to come this way. If I'm on my side, I'm going to come in. If I'm on my back, I'm going to lift up. Your goal is to have my head come up. My head comes up, you're going to heel stomp my head. Whatever part of the head is open, you're going to hit it hard with the heel of your foot, and you're going to lock your muscles. The snap kick will come back like a whip, but the heel stomp, we want to see you lock it and hold it for almost a second, because there's a lot of force coming in. You want to flex your muscle to support that force and allow that shock wave to do its damage. If you pop your foot back quickly, it won't work as well. You want to transmit that shock. Then you're going to cover, you're going to get out of there. You're going to use a horse stance, cat stance, horse stance, get out of there, done. That's advancing daggers. So see it from the beginning, we're going to step in, we're going to drive the arms apart. We'll fire chop 1, chop 2, spear hand, a low knee to the groin, web hand, guard, hook the eyes, hard bow, throw them down. We'll fire the guard comes up, we'll fire a snap kick to the groin, and then from the snap kick, we'll fire the heel stomp. Then we'll come back to a fighting stance and we'll cover out. That's advancing daggers.